When you get married, do you really understand your role as a husband or wife? It is so important for us to understand what our role is as a husband or a wife. Listen in as I interview Bishop Elwood Stevens of Golden Gate Cathedral in Memphis, Tennessee. He shares some very good tidbits about being a husband, about being a wife, about understanding your role. I look forward to your comments and how you're going to enjoy what he had to say. Tweet me on Twitter at Dating My Spouse, or you know, find me on Facebook at Still Dating My Spouse. Look forward to hearing your comments and
look at family. A lot of times people get married in an immature state. They have not consulted the Lord, and it's usually later on down the road that they begin to grow spiritually and then discover that they have they should have consulted the Lord. But as I was saying, that as we have, there's so little emphasis placed on marriage, and there's little distinction placed on really on what the husband as well as the wife is to do in marriage prior to getting married. And so through the years, the design of, as I see it, of roles in marriages has been lost to the extent that what we see now, I really call, unfortunately, is role-less marriages. And as Christians, we should not de-emphasize roles, but really properly define roles. Everybody's looking for equal this, equal that, equal that. There's some validity to that, but when you go back to scriptures, there are roles that have been defined by the Creator. And that's why you have the challenges that you face now. And many see roles as confining, not defining. And since God is responsible for establishing the institution of marriage, it's important to operate within the boundaries that have been set by Him. And so we have to get rid of the feminist mentality as well as the macho man perspective to rightly understand the institution of marriage. And so we can't look to what we see on television or read about in some kind of novel as it relates, because it's difficult for those in the world to accept a format outlined by God as being chauvinistic and promotes dominance and oppression of women, and that's how some folks view it. But when you look at the words used in describing the roles for husband and wife, there appears to be, now hear me clearly, an unfair imbalance, because the Bible uses words like head and words like protect and provide when speaking to the husband, and then helper, lover, and obey and submission when speaking to wives. And so it really appears on the surface. Now make sure you underscore the word on the surface. It appears to be unfair, but this was not God's intention. And so when you study this, you really understand, and you will discover that it is this is not a rank issue, but this is a role issue. It is not a rule issue, but it is a responsibility issue. And God has given certain responsibilities to each of the couples. God has distinct roles and responsibilities. The husband is responsible for a specific kind of leadership, and the wife is responsible for a specific kind of support and nurture. And it is all designed to be complementary. So anyway.
When you say the husband is has a certain design of leadership, and the wife has the support,
a specific kind of support.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that leadership? So the word has distorted this leadership of men, giving them, as you had mentioned, about this macho mentality, it's my way or no way, and they're barking at their wives, but I'm sure that's not the true design.
No. That's exactly why I said the husband is responsible for, I didn't say leadership, I say a specific kind of leadership. The husband is responsible for a specific, if you can't have two leaders, there cannot be two leaders. Okay. There has to be one leader. And that's where I want you to remember that I was talking about this is not about a rule issue, this is about a role issue. That we have. If you got two leaders, I mean, that's two people walking, then there's no leadership. Somebody has to give leadership. And if both of us are at the same place, there is no leadership. And thusly, this is when you have the dissension that comes within families, because now since there is no leadership, who's taking the lead? Now there's a fight.
Absolutely.
Because we don't know our roles. Not ruleship, but roleship. And so God has distinct roles and responsibilities, and the husband is responsible for this kind of leadership. The wife is responsible for that support, that nurture that's designed to be complementary. Now, husbands as a leader, the role of the husband was never designed to advocate the oppression of women. It has very little to do with being the boss. As a matter of fact, in the biblical marriage, the husband's role revolves around the subject of leadership. And this leadership is not a dictator style. This is what the world offers, and force and domination and serve as its mode of operation. If you look at the world's model, this style has caused many women to suffer hurt, you know that, and hell and humiliation.
Right.
The dictator style, of leadership is designed specifically. I see it as really selfish gain. So it is important to recognize that the emphasis should never be on dominance, but on duty. Responsibilities given are designed to cause one to be considerate of the other individual. That's the whole purpose of the role. So even when you're dealing with decisions, and decisions have to be made in the home, the husband using the dictator style of leadership gives order. He's in charge, and that's all that there is to it. He makes all decisions and expects everybody to just carry out the orders that he's directing. And then he becomes angry. He gets upset when his directives are questioned or when they are challenged. And so the loving husband, watch this, in this typical role, the loving husband comes in and he welcomes the opinion, the loving type of husband. That's a different kind of model. He welcomes the opinion of others, and he generates discussions on a given subject matter to make sure that he has covered everything, willing to listen to his wife's suggestions.